Hello, my little sewer clowns. Welcome to another episode of Ghouly Pleasures. I'm Kendra.
And I'm Darcy. We are going to be reviewing episode 2 of Welcome to Derry, called The Thing in the Dark. Episode 2 was directed by Andy Muschietti, who also directed episode 1. Writing credits include, obviously, Stephen King and Austin Guzman, who previously wrote for Grey's Anatomy, The Sandman, Why Women Kill, and many others. These were just some of the shows that stuck out to me. Especially The Sandman, because it's not necessarily horror, but it's in a fantasy genre, so it stuck out.
Good show.
Yes, very good show. We also have, forgive me, Guadalajara del Carmen as a writer, who also worked on episode 1. So episode 2 starts with an opening scene bringing us back to the traumatizing end of last week's episode, where we watched many adorable children be brutally murdered by...
Yes, I just really want to thank the writers for making us relive that scene.
Right!
Exactly the same way again, so thank you. I will be saving my therapy bills.
Right. They were like, you didn't get enough of it the first time? Okay,
let's replay it.
Right. Let's replay it for you. So we get to watch everyone, Teddy, Phil, and his sister, be killed by the demon baby again. And then Lily wakes up from a nightmare. So she is clearly reliving this incident in her dreams. She's very haunted and shaken by what has happened.
Yes, she clearly has trauma. Understandably, because so do I.
Understandably. I wasn't even there and I had trauma, okay? So we're starting already to get into the ramifications of episode 1. Lily's experiencing nightmares. And then we transition over to Ronnie's house, where the police are...
Yeah, they're just posted outside.
Yeah.
Keep and watch.
They're just staking it out.
In this all-black neighborhood.
These white cops just chilling in this very clear all-black neighborhood. And there's a conversation between them. Long story short, they're looking to pin this on Ronnie's dad.
Yes. The only Black employee of the theater where these children died.
Right. And I mean, one of the seemingly very few Black people who's actively integrated into the white communities that we are seeing on our screen.
Exactly. Interesting.
Right. It's also at this time that we find out that apparently our disastrous murder scene from the previous episode was left with just a lot of blood and no bodies.
Yeah.
Where those bodies are, no idea. Anyone's guess. Probably in the movie that Maddie was in. Is all I'm saying. So everyone's really suspicious, and Ronnie's dad is hyper aware of this. He knows that the police are looking to pin this on him. He says they're not going to stop until they find a body or they find a way to pin it on him.
He's well aware of what this town is like.
Exactly. And Ronnie, by association, she hears these conversations happening between her father and her grandmother. So she is aware that there's this racial profiling going on, and they're trying to pin it on her father. So as she operates throughout the rest of this episode and probably the rest of the series, she has this in the back of her mind, motivating her as she interacts with other people. So we go back to the school. We're getting involved with the kids. Things are not great at school for anyone. Lily and Marge are on the outs. Marge is really trying to fit into this cute little clique called the Patty Cakes, which is a weird choice for a name, but okay.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Whatever. You do what you want to do, I guess. Marge is trying to fit in with the clique. Lily has much more important things going on, and it's putting a lot of tension in their friendship.
Exactly. She just wants Lily to fit in with her in her attempt to get into the cool clique.
Exactly.
Clearly, Lily has been through too much to be worried about any social circle in school at this point.
Right. Marge is worried about the patty cakes. Lily is worried about demon babies who murder children.
Priorities.
Another thing that's really starting to put a strain on their friendship is that Marge has noticed Lily starting to interact with Ronnie, and she doesn't like that. She paints it as you're going to be even weirder than you already are, but there's got to be some racial undertones to this as well.
Oh, 100%. We see that more in later in the episode.
Right. Lily basically tells Marge to shove it, doesn't give a crap. We
Mhm.
see Ronnie eventually join Lily for lunch, and they get into a lot of things when they're sitting together eating lunch. Here's a good moment to say this episode is not going in sequential order. We are trying to categorize what we're talking about in an order that will make sense because there's a lot happening around here.
Yes, it's just a rundown of the finer points of the episode.
Right. So the biggest thing to note during this conversation between Ronnie and Lily is that Ronnie learns that Lily didn't say the same things to the police officers who are investigating the murder from the previous episode.
Yep, and that does not look good.
Right. Ronnie straight up told them, like, look, there was a freaking demon baby and he murdered my friends. And Lily kind of just said, well, I know Ronnie's dad wasn't there
Mhm.
because Lily has a history of being institutionalized and she desperately wants to avoid that at
Yes,
all
so
costs.
obviously saying a demon baby came and killed all our friends, that's a one-way ticket to the loony house.
Yeah, that's not gonna look good for her. Understandably, that's not gonna look good. I empathize with why she's being careful with what she says. But
Mhm.
now Ronnie's motivation to protect her father from being framed and Lily's motivation to stay out of the funhouse are in direct opposition.
Yep.
So Marge is getting her wish low key because,
Yeah, they're on the outs.
yes, things are not going well. They argue. It's a very heated argument. Ronnie swears and ends up in detention.
Mhm.
And we'll swing back to that. But also in school, we're seeing Will Hanlon Jr., so Major Hanlon's son, who's since joined his father in town, is coming to class. And surprise, surprise, he's the only black kid in this class.
Mhm.
And he kind of gets low-key bullied already. Someone pulls a chair out from under him. It's not a great, welcoming.
No,
And the teacher doesn't say shit.
you can tell the teacher already has it out for him, and I wonder why. I
Yes, he shows
wonder
up.
why.
Right. He shows up a few minutes late. And I think she was really pleased about that, is all I'm going to say.
Amongst other things.
Right. It felt like an excuse. It felt like an excuse to be like, okay, you're on my shit list because you were late. That's all. Because you were late.
The first day of school, no one showing him around. Of course, he's a
Right.
few minutes late, but
Right.
that's his problem. That's the child's problem.
Yep. Oh, and you're bullied now? Oh, it's still your problem. I don't care. Bye. Whatever. There is one kid who admires Will's pencil in a literal sense.
Literally.
He's like, wow, that is a good model. What a freaking weirdo. I could already tell at this moment. I was like, oh, okay. They're both weird in their own special way. They're going to be friends.
Yeah. A little neurodivergent, maybe.
Yes, definitely possible. This boy who shows an interest in Will ends up being named Rich. Things to know about Rich is that he has a huge crush on Marge, and he's not as bright as Will is. There's a brief exchange where he sees Will reading a science book. He's like, well, tell me about science. And then our boy Rich makes a comment about how his dad told him, well, the sky is blue because God's a boy. Otherwise it would be pink. And
Don't homeschool your children, please.
Will's like, interesting theory. Interesting theory. So they have a cute dynamic. That's a lot of fun. And while
Yeah, I
they're,
love Will. I
yes,
love him. He is my new son.
yes,
Anything happens to him, I will fly to Derry and punch Pennywise in the face myself.
absolutely. Will is really different from his dad. Will's really he comes across as kind of sensitive.
Yeah, he's the gentle son. The father, obviously a general. He's more strict. He's more, they do not have the same interests.
Right. Not interested in sports. He's interested in science, but him and Will and Rich hit it off in their little weird special way. And then poor Will ends up in detention because someone sets off a stink bomb and he runs into a teacher while trying to get away from it. And this sets up the moment where he ends up meeting Ronnie, who also got detention earlier for cursing at Lily. So these two meet in detention and they were really cute together.
Yeah, they had really good interactions back and forth.
Yeah. Ronnie's obviously not into science, but Will's like, bro, science is great. And she's like, all right, you know what? I'll hear you out. Tell me about science. And so they have a cute exchange, but the scene ends with Ronnie seeing our girl Lily being escorted out of school by the police.
Hmm.
And poor Lily is taken all the way to the police station where she's interrogated about the murder from episode 1, even more than she already has been. And this is because the cops don't like the answers that she's given them so far.
Yep.
She told them, no, Hank was not there. He was not at the scene of the crime. Like, look elsewhere.
They don't want to hear that, though. They want to
No,
hear he was there so we can implicate him and put him in jail so we can close this
exactly.
case and go home.
Exactly. So these dirty cops basically manipulate her, threatening her using her trauma from being institutionalized at Juniper Hill. That's the place where she
Hmm.
was institutionalized. They're insinuating that maybe she had a part in the murder, or maybe she's just crazy. Maybe she
Hmm.
needs to take a trip back to Juniper Hill
Ugh.
to be tested for a few days.
Yep.
Yeah. And we know this is Lily's biggest fear. It's her whole motivation for how she's been acting so far. She does not want to be crazy.
No, she does not want to go back to that place. So that also makes me wonder what went on in that place.
Right. She clearly has some trauma. So the cops lay it down on the line for her and basically feed it to her. Like, this is
Yeah,
what we
he's
want you
basically
to
like,
say.
okay, I'll rephrase the question. Are
Yep.
you sure Hank was not there that night?
Right. I think he said, can you be absolutely sure he wasn't there?
Mhm. And of course,
Of
can we
course.
be absolutely sure of anything?
Exactly. Phrased it in just the right way to get the answer he wanted. And the result is that Ronnie's dad, Hank, ends up being arrested for the murder
Yep.
of our boys,
That's all he
Joseph.
needed was that you couldn't be sure that Hank was there. That was enough for them.
Right. We
That
don't
was
need evidence. We just need the vague word of like a 12-year-old girl. That's it. As long as it's a white girl.
yes.
So Hank gets arrested, and obviously this just further cements the rift between Ronnie and Lily going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like I feel for both of them. I
Yeah.
really do. It's a
Both of
tough
them.
situation. Like this whole show was like stressing me out like that movie we watched the other week. It's like these kids are so helpless. And
Yes.
it's like it's more helpless than it was in the movies cuz like they teamed together, they fought back against Pennywise. In this case it's like everything is
Right.
piling against these children and they have no one there to help.
Yeah. I think that you and I both have a similar trigger when it comes to horror, which we probably really discovered. We watched a movie a few weeks ago called Bring Her Back on HBO Max. We won't get into any of the plot, but it really messed with us. And I think a lot of it has to do with children being separated from people in power positions who are willing to believe them and fight for them.
Mhm.
And when these children who essentially have no autonomy in the grand scheme of the law are isolated,
Yep.
that's very stressful for us.
It is. And I feel like we never had this problem before. Maybe it's as we age, but
What
now it's like,
age? I'm only 3 years old. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah, 3, yeah, 3, maybe 5.
Maybe 5. That's fine too. But no, it really is valid because like we're fully grown adults. And I mean, we have the agency, both mentally, emotionally, financially, to remove ourselves from any situation that we
Mhm.
find to be dangerous or scary. Children who are not believed by their own family members, the people closest to them, like Lily, whose mother is mm, not nice.
No, I don't know what's up with her mother. She's just like, I think she's really like trying to keep the peace, maybe,
Right. Yeah.
or I don't know. I
I
don't
think
know.
I'll give the mother total credit. I think she's scared. I mean, she
Yeah.
lost her husband, and we don't know the history of what happened, but something happened with Lily to get her institutionalized the first time around. So she's obviously concerned and worried. But the
Mhm.
point is, in this genre, we normally expect these kids to at least have each other to rely on.
Mhm.
But right now, Lily and Ronnie don't have each other to rely on.
Yep, they're splintering that from the start in the show. Like, we do
Right,
not have the core group of kids that we had in
right,
it that are
right,
gonna fight back. So it's like everything's up in the air. What
right.
happens from here with these kids?
Right. There might be a new potential core group starting to form with Ronnie because now she's met Will Hanlon and they kind of clicked. And
Mhm.
Will has also started to click with the boy who loved his pencil, whose name is Rich. I have a suspicion that Will may end up being the center of this group as it starts
Ooh,
to come together. Maybe, but who knows?
I would love to see it. I love Will. He's so precious.
Yes. I hope they don't make us love him and then,
You know,
well,
we're after episode 1. I should try not to get attached,
right.
but that child was just so charming.
I
He
know.
truly was.
I know. At the very least, he's going to be traumatized beyond all belief. He'll be a different person before it's over. Like, okay, I don't want to see him traumatized. We're about to talk about the two biggest horror scenes in the episode. And I'm just saying, if I have to watch my boy Will go through this, I'm going to be traumatized even more than I already am.
I didn't even think of that. Obviously, he's gonna have to have a
Right.
sequence like
Right.
that.
Yes.
My poor son.
I know. Okay. So let's get into these really intense horror scenes. These are not in a sequential order. We just really wanted to touch base on the plot. And now we're going to address these two key horror moments that really fucked us up a bit, I will say.
Yeah, these sequences were crazy.
Yeah. So Ronnie, she has a nightmare. I guess you could say.
I guess you could say.
I guess we could call it that. She's in her bedroom and she's overhearing her dad and her grandma arguing about the ongoing police investigation. And she's heard it once, she's heard it twice, she's heard it many times. So she doesn't want to hear it right now. She decides to pull her blanket up over her head to like block the world out.
Mhm.
But she starts hearing this sound, like this thudding sound. Ba-bum, ba-bum. And she's like, what the hell is that?
I don't want to know. Ronnie,
No.
just keep your head under the covers. I don't want to know. Don't
Right.
take me with you.
No, for real, girl. I don't want to know. Don't tell me shit. Please. Please stop. And there's a moment where she starts to pull the blankets off of her,
Mhm.
but the blankets don't come off of her. Suddenly, there's like no end to the blankets. And then the sheets start transforming into like this. The only way to describe it is like a fleshy, pulsing tunnel. Yeah.
Great word to describe it, Darcy. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. She's basically trapped in a nightmarish womb, is the only way
It
to
is a
explain it.
nightmare womb. Yes, indeed.
The womb of what turns out to be her mother.
Trauma.
We witness a horrific reverse birth scene,
Oh,
is the only way I can describe it, where Ronnie is in this womb and starts to tear and claw her way out. And you literally see this fabric slash flesh tear open and she falls to the ground And she looks back and she sees her mother sitting in bed. And that's when you really process that, oh, she just crawled out of her mother.
Yeah.
Like,
Another birthing sequence in the show.
exactly. Thank you. We're only 2 episodes in, and we've had 2 horrific birth scenes so far. I thought it was
Interesting.
an interesting choice. So Ronnie's seeing her mom, and her mom sitting in her bed with her. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, her legs are spread, and things are horrific. Like,
Horrific.
her mother starts making these comments, accusing Ronnie of killing her at birth, just like she killed those missing kids.
Oh.
Yeah. So here's another thing that picks up from episode 1 is that, like, whatever this thing is, it likes to perpetuate the guilt that
Mm-hmm.
children feel. Because as we saw in episode 1, our group of kids, right before they were murdered, were all expressing how guilty they felt about
Mm-hmm.
Maddie going missing. And then when, quote unquote, Maddie sees them from the screen at the end of the episode, he's immediately blaming them for what happened to him. Clearly, whatever this is thrives off of that.
It feeds on fear and guilt.
Exactly. Yes. So the mother is throwing these accusations at Ronnie, and then this creature with teeth is revealed in was it the vagina, or was
I
it?
think it was.
I think it might have been the vagina. It's like that horror movie Teeth, but it's extra horrifying because this is when you realize that Ronnie is still attached to her mother by the
Oh,
umbilical cord
the
at her
umbilical
belly
cord.
button. So this mother monster-esque creature starts reeling Ronnie in to this. I'm gonna just the vaginal birth canal with teeth.
The
Starts
void of
reeling her.
horror.
The void of horror. Yes, no better way to refer to it. And obviously Ronnie is screaming and trying to get away, and she gets horrifically close
Yes.
to being eaten alive.
Indeed. But she does fight through the umbilical cord.
Oh my God, is that what she did? I didn't even process that. All I saw was like, okay, she ripped it apart somehow. I didn't even
She
know she
bit
did
it.
it. Oh my gosh.
She bit it.
Hey, survival of the fittest, I guess. Damn,
Oh,
that's disgusting. Jesus. That alone is trauma. Never mind the rest of it. So Ronnie, tears free, and she obviously is trying to put as much distance between herself and this mother monster thing in her bed. So she backs up, like crawls backwards on her floor. And then, of course, her mother just gets up and runs/crawls right up into her face.
oh, it was horrifying, that sequence of her rising up.
Yes, it was not pleasant. Thankfully, Ronnie's father puts all of us out of our misery by opening the door. And that's when we see that even though Ronnie is in the position on her floor against her door that we saw her in this weird dream vision thing, everything else is totally normal. Yep, there's no mother monster in her bed. Ronnie, in her nightmarish vision, had been covered in like different juices from being inside the womb, but now she's totally dry and clean. I would leave town immediately.
Immediately. You know, this scene reminded me of a scene I hoped to forget, but it brought it all back.
Oh God.
But the movie Men,
Oh my God, yes.
the birthing sequence in the movie Men,
Yes.
I thought I repressed that.
Yeah,
And it brought it all back, Darcy. It's all back.
that's fair. I remember watching that scene and literally just like my mouth just like dropped open staring
That
at
was,
it. Like,
if you guys haven't watched Men, don't. It's
oh my God. Yeah, now that you say it, yeah. But honestly, this might have been worse.
you know what? I don't know about that.
I don't know. By the end of the scene in Men, I was kind of like, I was obviously horrified and disgusted, but there was kind of a moment of like pity. Like the disgust turned
Mhm.
from like horror to just like, ugh, man.
Yeah, that's true. But the
Whereas,
sequence was just so long.
right, yeah, it went on, which this also freaking did. But like, I'm just saying, if I didn't already make the decision that I never wanted to have children, this probably would have cemented it for me.
Gosh, we have so much trauma about it now. How could we ever?
Right. I just don't know, man. You know, something that I thought was interesting was like, usually these birth scenes, I feel like are meant to be, whenever you see any birth scene in horror, it's like always meant to be horrifying for the woman. Like you're playing on the fears of women in giving birth. But both of these scenes, I'm like, especially Ronnie's, I was like, girl, forget giving birth. Like being given birth to
Oh,
seems even more terrifying.
I think that's why we don't remember it. It must have been a
A
traumatic
trauma response.
experience for us.
We're gonna be like, we gotta repress this shit. Cause like, I'm just saying, if there was any sort of consciousness before we were born in life, I would be like, can I opt out? I do not want to go through that shit. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so that was absolutely horrific.
Mhm.
Very, I would say, just traditional horror, totally fuck you up kind of horror scene.
Yes. I hated it, but I loved it at the same time.
Yes.
This is
Very,
why we love horror. We
yes.
love it. It's so good.
Right. Were we traumatized? Did we want it to end? Yes, but we enjoyed it.
We enjoyed it.
Our next really big horror scene of the episode is Lily.
Ooh, Lily in that grocery store.
Yes, very different from our previous scene. Lily goes to the grocery store. This is after she's unfortunately basically sold Ronnie's dad out to the cops,
Mhm.
not meaning to, obviously.
Unintentionally.
Right. She was cornered in a position she felt like she had no other choice because she does not want to be institutionalized. So she's going grocery shopping.
Yep. Her mom's working a double. She has to do it.
Exactly. Things start to go downhill pretty fast.
It starts off so normally. Like the first 3 to 5 minutes, a regular grocery trip.
I don't know, girl, because, well, you know what I'll give you is that when she starts shopping through the store, there are people like who are kind of looking at her and
Yeah,
whispering.
they're giving her strange looks, but like at
Right.
this point, you could assume it's because
Right.
she's the crazy
Exactly.
girl in town. She just was found at that theater with all those children who died. Her
Exactly.
father died. They're probably just giving her those looks of a small town. If you ever lived in
Right.
a small town, you've had those looks.
Right, exactly. But then the looks that these people are giving her start to get a little creepy.
They get progressively weirder.
Yes.
I loved it.
Yes, like we're talking really creepy like smiles as they
Just a
just
sudden
stare at her.
turn and a deranged smile.
Yes. I'm
The
watching you.
guy poking around the aisle.
Yes, just poking around the aisles to stare at her with a smile on his face. So creepy. And
True
you
Pennywise fashion. Like that truly
yes.
did remind me of the old It movies. The sequence specifically was very It.
Yes, I agree completely. Um, and then like the whispers start to change, and at one point, a voice comes over the store speakers, basically like mocking her about losing her marbles and how she can buy new ones on aisle
Mhm.
8.
Oh, I love how they did that too, because the whole sequence, you just hear like this monotonous announcement of ads. And it's just
Yes,
like in the background. And at a
yes,
certain point, you stop paying attention to it because it just keeps saying the same thing over and over.
right,
And then it turns into the taunting. Like, oh, that's
exactly,
good. That's good.
yes. And then you start to see as she's walking down these different aisles. It's like it almost looks like someone has a big crate
Mhm.
of different groceries that
Yeah,
they're
the
going to stock
aisles,
on a
like
shelf.
aisle pushers. Like if you work in a grocery store, you know you can push aisles. So I assumed that first aisle we seen moving past, but just an aisle moving because they put wheels on them, they move. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Right,
But they
exactly.
showed that.
Yes. So the aisle closes in behind her. And like Kendra said, at first you think, oh, this is maybe just random. But then it keeps happening. again and
They
again.
show it multiple times. Every time she turns down to another aisle comes in around and blocks her.
Right.
And we still get the creepy poking guy who's just peeking around corners and smiling at
Yes.
her. And she doesn't see any of it.
No, she seems
She is
totally
unaware
aware.
at this point.
There's definitely a feeling of claustrophobia and
Mhm.
paranoia that starts to creep up here. And eventually she ends up in a dead end where there's just cereal boxes filled with the faces of our core, our what we thought was our core group of kids from episode 1 who died at the end. They're all looking at her.
Big old smiles on their face until they turn to horrific images.
Yes.
Faces melting away into nothing.
Right. And naturally she's like, I don't like this. I'm
Mhm.
gonna leave.
So she turns
So,
around to leave. Can't do that. She's
nope.
surrounded on all corners.
Yep. And now she's in this tight little square,
Mm.
completely surrounded on all 4 sides
By what,
by
Darcy?
pickle jars.
Pickle jars have a significance.
As we know from episode 1, her father worked at a jarring factory and died while trying to fix a pickle machine
Some
that
sort of
was
machinery.
breaking down. And in episode 1, children at school bullied her by putting pickle jars in her locker.
Mhm.
So whatever source is either watching or in their brains was like, you know
They
what?
use trauma, they
Yep.
use guilt, and they use fear.
Yeah. It was a little like, I mean, I liked it. It was just like, I know how to screw with you. Pickle
Yes.
jars. But then it gets even worse because inside one of the pickle jars, she sees her father's face.
I don't know how you recognize that as anybody, but
We haven't even seen him yet, but obviously we know by her reaction, oh, this is her daddy. And he's talking to her. And the jars all around her start to completely burst open. And out of these jars come like different body parts, like fingers that are starting to move. And everything, these fingers and her father's face start
to
forming. Like,
morph
yeah.
into this tentacle like
Yes.
pickle beast monster.
Yes, they all come together. It's like a grotesque octopus with her
Oh,
father's face as the head.
and it's still a bunch of pickles too.
Yes, but still a bunch of pickles.
So let's not forget the pickles.
You know, the show really is like, is this a little silly? Yeah, but
It's great.
it's so good.
Pickles should not have body parts.
No,
I'm just
and
going to say that. I don't know if this is a bold statement to make, but I don't think pickles should have body parts.
you know, I'm just gonna say I will probably never look at a pickle the same way.
I'm never eating a pickle again.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I probably won't even go down the pickle aisle anymore. Like any
Actually, now
aisle with
that
all
you
those
mention
jars.
it, if I go down this grocery store and I see a jar of pickles, I'm going to be traumatized.
Yeah, walk in the other direction like your life fucking depends on it because
If
it
I
might.
smell pickles, I will feel ill.
Gosh, look, freaking coming up with these random ass traumas. They're gonna be like, why are you afraid of pickles? You don't
Sit
want
down, let me tell you about episode 2 of Welcome to Derry.
right? Just watch this one scene and you'll understand everything. I promise. But so this creature comes together and it crawls over onto her, is like on her face, and like one of the tentacles is like climbing
Wraps
into her
around her
mouth.
neck and into her mouth.
Yeah, it's disgusting. She's going through it, and then there's a hard cut back to reality. And everyone is staring at her like, what the fuck is
Yep.
wrong with you?
Much like they were before, but this time it's honestly, what the hell is wrong with you?
Right. Because although honestly, it felt like a little bit of an overreaction because when it comes back to reality, we see she's on the floor freaking out because, you know, what she was seeing. But everything around her has returned to normal except one jar of pickles that she has smashed on the ground. But I'm like, bro, people accidentally drop shit. I would have just pretended. Oops.
She was probably screaming too. I
True.
assumed she was probably have a scene.
Right, because Ronnie, we know, was screaming in her dream sequence, which is how her father knew to come to see her. So
Mm.
definitely they witnessed her having what they assume is a break. And unfortunately, this results in the one thing that Lily was trying to avoid, which is she gets institutionalized again back at Juniper Hill, and the lovely orderlies come out to greet her with really creepy smiles.
Yeah. One guy specifically had a real creepy smile on his
Yeah,
mouth.
he did. Yeah. And it's like, okay. So, first of all, like you mentioned before, what has she been through here in the past? How much of this is creepy orderlies,
Mhm.
just being creepy orderlies, and how much of this is, Pennywise in the background?
Exactly. I'm sure we'll find out.
I don't know if I want to. So basically, our two girls, Ronnie and Lily, their relationship is fractured, and both of their worst fears have come true now, too.
Mhm.
Things aren't going good. So I don't know what's going to happen next with our seemingly new core group of kids, but hopefully um, we'll be able to start pulling people back together and start creating some more cohesion. And maybe our core group will take form after all before the end of
Maybe.
the show.
Yeah. We don't know yet, but we can only hope because
Right.
it's getting scary for us.
Yeah. We need some kids to save us, please. So the kids are going through it. Meanwhile, Major Hanlon, his family finally joins him in Derry, which we know because we told you about Will attending school. We're going to backtrack a little bit to get into Hanlon and his military subplot. Going back and forth is just a little confusing. So we're going to
Mhm.
backtrack. Um, Major Hanlon has his son, Will, and he also has a wife named Charlotte.
Mhm.
They meet him at this beautiful new house.
Yep. Gorgeous.
Yes.
Gorgeous suburb.
Yes, a gorgeous, very white
Very
suburb.
white. And immediately the microaggressions begin.
Yes. Old woman walks by and gives them a look and a strained good afternoon.
Yeah.
But
Good afternoon.
yeah,
She's like, what are you doing here?
she's like, I'll be polite because I'm above this. But what are you doing here? And Hanlon and his wife Charlotte, and they see it.
Yeah. They
They're
clocked it
aware.
immediately.
Yes. We get inside, we see a little bit of the family dynamics. There's a little bit of tension between Hanlon and his son Will because, as we've already discussed, Will is a little more sensitive, a little more sciency, and Hanlon doesn't really know how to deal with that. He wants to give his sons baseballs and watch him play sports, but Will's not really into that.
Hmm.
It's a little awkward. He gifts Will a telescope, which Will is obsessed with. But it turns out this isn't even Hanlon's idea. It was his wife's, Charlotte, who
Hmm.
proposed the idea. So, and then we get a little more of Charlotte because she goes into town and has an experience where she sees some kids bullying someone. She
Hmm.
steps in. From this and subsequent conversation between her and Hanlon, we basically find out that Charlotte's more of a see something, say something kind of woman.
Yes.
She's not here for the microaggressions. She's not here for any of the bullshit. She's not going to stay quiet. Hanlon's kind of the opposite. He wants to lay low and not make
Exactly.
any
He's in
waves.
the military. He doesn't want to stir things up. He's already in a precarious position himself in the military.
Right. What was it back before? I mean, it's probably illegal again, but back before when it was originally illegal to be gay in the military, they were like, what was the phrase? They were like,
Don't ask, don't tell.
don't ask, don't tell. Like Hanlon gives those vibes. Like, don't ask, don't
Hmm.
tell. I don't see it. I'm not going to say anything. So there's a little differences and conflict with the family members, but overall they really get along well. They seem to be a happy family. Meanwhile,
But like
Hanlon,
that whole sequence of Charlotte in town, I think that really did a great job of showing really what this town is about. And it's more than just the secrets and the mysteries and the fear.
right.
This town has a prejudice
Yes,
and she
absolutely.
clocks it immediately. And I
Right.
wonder going forward if she's going to clock more about this town besides that too.
Right. Hanlon makes a comment to her while they're discussing her intervening with things that she says. He's like, I'm not the one sitting in places where I'm not wanted, or something along those lines, which is very an intense thing to say, especially for the time. So I think it's interesting that the show's clearly mixing real life horror with a supernatural sort of horror. And obviously, both of these different types are intersecting with one another. With, for example, Ronnie's dad, who's being profiled and basically, witch hunted into being held responsible for the disappearance of these children. So I'll be interested to see how they continue to mesh both the realities of this prejudice and racism with the ongoing paranoia that's being created by Pennywise in Derry. Sounds like
Very interesting.
a dangerous mixture, I think.
Oof.
Meanwhile, Hanlon's investigation is ongoing. In episode 1, we saw him be attacked in the barracks by multiple people in masks. And now we see him reporting to the general, who lets him know, hey, we found one of the guys. It's Masters, which is the white man from episode 1 who gave Hanlon some lip. And
he didn't want to give him a salute.
Exactly.
He's black.
Very disrespectful.
More racist.
Right. He was very blatant in his distaste for having a superior who was black. So we're told that Masters, they found a weapon in his room, and he admitted to the crime.
Simple as that. Case closed.
Exactly. The only thing is he's not naming his accomplices. But Hanlon pauses because he saw the weapon during the attack, and he IDs it as what is called a Makarov PM, which was standard for the Soviet Union in the 1950s. And he knows what it takes to handle a weapon like this. He's not sure Masters has what it takes. So we see Hanlon go and confront Masters, who's basically in the brig. And Hanlon decides to bring a Makarov PM with him. So he's got a pistol. It's a pistol. And he straight up shows it to Masters and puts it down on the bench that Masters is sitting on. But it's not loaded, so don't worry. But then he puts a magazine down right next to the gun so that if Masters wants to, he could certainly load it.
He could do it.
Yeah. And after a little baiting on Hanlon's part, Masters absolutely attempts to load that magazine into the Makarov PM. And that's
He
when
attempts.
he attempts. That's when we see he can't.
He cannot. He has no idea how to use that.
Right. He's too slow. He's fumbling with it. This isn't the person who attacked Hanlon the other night. He immediately clocks it, and he goes back to the general to tell him just that. Tells him Masters is an innocent man. You should let him go. The investigation needs to continue to find the actual guilty parties.
Yep. He was going to report it to be investigated further.
Exactly. And this is where things take a little twist, because the general is like, well, wait. It was a test. It was a test, Hanlon, and you passed.
A likely story. Thank you.
Right. So the general is saying this was a test. The attack wasn't supposed to happen the way it did, apparently. His bad. He refuses to name the other people involved. Whatever. Be like that, bro. I guess if they're volunteers in a plan, you can't name them. But
he doesn't have to disclose that, I guess.
Right. Whatever. Good for them, I guess. Not sure why Masters had to take the bait, but it's part of the plan. The general confirms that Masters wasn't involved. And this is where we learn that the general was testing Hanlon because during a previous deployment, he had his amygdala damaged. And for anyone who doesn't know about the medical background, basically damage to your amygdala can disrupt your ability to feel fear. And this is why the general needs Hanlon, because they have an operation that they're working on
Yes,
called
they do.
Operation Precept.
Hmm.
The general tells Hanlon that basically Cuba and the Soviets have allied to position nuclear warheads near the US. And so they're basically teaming up. And the US is
Classified mission.
right. And the US is obviously really concerned about this situation. So they're trying to form a counter plan, which is Operation Precept. Basically, their goal is to, quote unquote, win the Cold War before it begins. And they plan to do this with a secret weapon that is buried in Derry. And this weapon emits intense fear in anyone nearby and could even like inspire a fear so intense that you just kill yourself because you can't handle it. So Hanlon's fearless condition is why they need him. He's uniquely suited for it. He doesn't feel fear. So he should be able to handle this ancient weapon that makes someone feel fear. As soon as we learn this, a report comes in from the dig site that they've found something. So we go to the dig site, and that's where we see Dick Halloran from The Shining. This is the man
Yes,
who...
Dick Halloran from The Shining.
Yes. This is the man from episode 1 who was driving Major Hanlon around on the cart. Driving him around, unnamed in episode 1. And we
just see him giving Hanlon just strange looks the entire episode.
Exactly.
And we have no idea who this man is.
Right. But now knowing he's Dick Halloran, who has The Shining, which is a psychic gift, makes so much more sense. If he knew what Major Hanlon was coming here for, it makes sense that he would be sending him looks like, is this the right guy for the job?
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. So Dick Halloran is at the dig site where Hanlon and the general join him and everyone else. And this is basically a military excavation. They're looking for this ancient weapon. They find something.
They do find something.
Yep. Using Dick's psychic abilities, they dig up a car.
Mm-hmm. And if you notice, when the car is coming up, you can see bullet holes shining through it through the light.
Ooh, I missed that. Good catch. Good catch. And inside this car, there are bodies. They're long deceased. So
long deceased.
We can't say.
We can only assume.
Exactly. We can only assume that these are the same people from episode 1 who were in the car when Maddie was taken.
Oh, poor little Maddie.
I know. Gosh. So, I mean, this isn't confirmed, but
I feel like that's what it's leading to.
Right. Like, we haven't seen any other group of people like that in that kind of car. It looks like a very similar car. I don't know cars, like I told you earlier. If you listened to our review of episode 3 of Telemaska, you know that if a cop questioned me about a car or anything, if someone held a gun to my head and said, "What did the car look like?" I'd be like, "It was a car. I don't even know what color it was. I'm so sorry.
It was red. It went vroom vroom. That's all I can tell you.
There were 4 wheels, I'm pretty sure. Oh my God, it was on the road." No, I couldn't tell you anything. But at a glance, I was like, that car looks very similar to the one from episode 1.
I know, and it's because, like, the opening of the first episode, well, not the opening, but one of the key scenes in the beginning was the family in the car.
Exactly.
Which kind of kicks off the whole thing. So you can only assume what they find, whatever weapon they're looking for and what they dig up has something to do with the beginning of this whole thing.
Right, exactly. And there look to be about 4 bodies in there. I'm just saying the math is mathing.
The math is mathing.
Yep. So that's basically where the episode leaves us. The kids are in disarray. Major Hanlon is being used because he has no fear and they need this ancient weapon that makes people feel nothing but intense fear. And our boy Dick Halloran is using his gift to help them find this weapon.
Mhm. Good second episode.
Good
Good
second
second
episode.
episode.
I'm just saying, I don't think digging up an ancient weapon that just makes everyone feel intense fear is a good plan when you only have one
No,
person who's immune and
yeah,
not even confirmed, just like, well, your amygdala was damaged. I don't think you can feel fear. So
this is
surely
perfect.
this'll work. No issues.
But if you know any research about the kind of experiments and plans that they made back in those days, I'm not surprised.
Right. Cold War era was intense with paranoia, superstition. So it makes sense that they would say, you know what? The fear that we all have and the paranoia that we all have, let's use that as a
Weaponize it.
weapon. Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
weaponize fear,
Right.
which is literally Pennywise's whole gig.
Exactly.
So that was episode 2 of Welcome to Derry. I thought it was fantastic. I'm really enjoying the show so far. And
Yeah.
also, I want to mention the opening theme.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It was so good. Like, the song is called Smile in a Ribbon, and it's like
Oh,
this 50s boppity tune. It was literally recorded in the 50s to
oh my
give you
goodness.
that nostalgic feeling. And like the intro, just like the background, nostalgic photos from that time. And
Hmm.
it's like the lyrics of the song is like, everything's fine. Everything's going to be fine. So, you got to put on a ribbon and smile as the images of the postcard get progressively worse and more like
Hmm.
suspicious. And it's like the song's saying everything's fine, but literally nothing is fine. And I
Right.
thought that was a great intro.
I like that. It gives Stepford Wives kind of vibe. Everything's great. Nothing to see here. And things are like a little too nice and a little too good that it quickly swings back over into scary and creepy
Yep, and
and
there's a
awesome.
lot of Easter eggs in that intro too. There's a
Yeah.
lot of Easter eggs.
They're doing a good job, I think, of creating their own story, but also finding things to interlace into their story, both character wise and, different things here and there
Yeah,
to make
the show has a very specific overarching theme that they're
right.
sticking to really well.
Right. I think they're doing a good job of probably making people who've done deep dives into this story with the books and everything, they're giving them little things to look forward to. And then as a general audience, we're good. I'm
Yeah,
enjoying it. There's nothing so far that I'm like, why don't I know that? You know what I mean? Some
yeah,
shows bring
exactly. Especially when it's based off of a book series.
right. Sometimes they make the general audience feel left out because they make a reference so niche that you're like, was I supposed to get that? And I'm sure there are references to things being made throughout that you and I aren't necessarily clocking, but it's not standing out in a way that takes away from our enjoyment of the
Yeah,
episode.
it's not like it's making it hard to follow.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so that was episode 2, and
Yeah,
I'm
episode
excited.
2.
I'm really
I'm
excited to
excited
see episode.
too.
How do we get
I
8
know. How many
episodes?
episodes is this going to be? 8? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm glad too that we got 6 weeks left. So it's carrying out a bit, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I appreciate it. It gives us more time to think about it and theorize as the episodes play out.
And it's a lot to theorize about because they're just literally throwing in a little bit of hints here and there, and we're having a good time theorizing about what's going to happen. So that was our review of episode 2 of Welcome to Derry. We hope to see you in the next one. This was Kendra.
And this is Darcy. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week.
Bye.